The Texas Tech football team walked into Jones AT&T Stadium this weekend as the underdog, but could they surprise the number 8 team in the nation with a win? Coming up, MCTV's Austin Seat will have a look at the score and highlights from that game in sports.
COVID-19 has affected a lot of things here on campus this fall, including how students get from place to place each day. Find out how a big announcement on Friday is bringing at least one transportation option closer to normal next.
And Texas Tech received some national attention this week before kickoff of the Tech versus Texas game. We'll show you how one group here on campus received their 15 minutes of fame while showcasing what the university has to offer.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Krizia Williams.
And I'm Avery Fenton.
Over the weekend, the Red Raider football team welcomed in the number 8 ranked Texas Longhorns to Jones AT&T Stadium for one of the team's biggest games of the year. But could Tech pull off a win against a top 10 team for the first time in 8 years? MCTV Sports' Austin Seat joins us now with a look back at Saturday's game. Austin?
Thanks, Krizia. The Red Raiders put the Longhorns on upset alert Saturday afternoon, but unfortunately Tech couldn't hold on and Texas took home an overtime win 63-56. Texas Tech put up 441 yards of offense on Saturday, splitting that total between 331 passing yards and 110 rushing yards. That number was pretty even with the Longhorns' 476 total yards, but Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger was the difference maker in this game, completing 10 of his final 11 passing attempts to set up Texas for a tie in regulation and the go-ahead score in overtime. Even though Tech lost, the Red Raiders' 56 points on Saturday was the most the team has ever scored against the Longhorns in their long-running rivalry. Coming up later in sports, I'll have a look at the highlights from Saturday's game, along with scores from 2 other Tech teams in action this weekend. Back to you, Krizia.
Thanks, Austin. In other news, the number of COVID-19 cases on the Texas Tech campus seems to be slowing as we head into the 6th week of classes. On Friday, university officials reported 32 new active cases made up of 29 students and 3 employees. That report is nearly identical to the previous Friday's numbers of active cases, which consisted of 30 students and 2 employees, to also make up a total of 32 new cases. The latest report also included 22 new recoveries among the Tech community. In total, the Texas Tech campus saw a total of 178 new cases last week, which is a decrease of more than 120 infections from the previous week's count of 300 new cases. In total, Tech has reported 1,585 cases since early August, with the vast majority of those reports in the student population. Free testing continues this week on campus, but the clinic has moved to a new location. As of this morning, COVID-19 testing is now being offered just inside the sculpture court of the west side of the TTU Museum. The hours of operation for the clinic are Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Appointments are not necessary, but you will need a Tech ID.
Students who regularly utilize the on-campus busing system will start to see a return to normal today. Late this summer, Texas Tech Transportation and Parking Services announced some big changes for the fall semester. The changes included running 2 bus routes on the outskirts of campus, with stops only available at 2 commuter lots, the College of Media and Communications and the College of Business. But as of this morning, bus service will now return to stops at multiple locations inside campus. The Red Raider route will continue its regular stops with the addition of stops at West Village, the Student Wellness Center, Commuter North, Holden Hall, the Sub, Library, Education, as well as the Law School by request. The Double T route will make all the same stops with the exception of Media and Communications in West Village. Along with the change in destinations, the buses will also run 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. After hours, students can also use the City Bus on Demand option, which runs until 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. Facial coverings, social distancing, and other safety measures will continue to be in effect on both bus routes. For more info on these changes as well as other transportation options here on Tech Campus, visit TPS's website at transportation.ttu.edu.
Texas Tech University received some big publicity over the weekend after a nationally syndicated broadcast made a stop by campus last week. U.S. Farm Report is a weekly television show that highlights the agriculture industry here in the U.S. And for the last 3 years, the production team has made a stop on the Tech campus to showcase the university during the U.S. Farm Report College Roadshow. Members of Tech's College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources were featured during the broadcast with some specific updates on the progress of Tech's soon-to-open School of Veterinary Medicine. Along with faculty members, the show also included a special feature on Tech's record-breaking meat judging team. 2020 marked the third time U.S. Farm Report featured Texas Tech, but as with everything else, COVID-19 led to changes in the production. Traditionally, a live audience of students, faculty, and staff would attend the taping of the show. But this year, only interviewees were allowed on set. This year's Texas Tech edition of College Roadshow aired this week, but you can catch the full show by visiting the U.S. Farm Report's website at agweb.com/USFR.
Last night, the South Plains area was hit by some strong wind gusts as another cold front moved through the area. Temperatures dropped overnight, but is this finally the beginning of fall weather here on campus? MCTV's Madison Hartin joins us in the studio with the latest look at the forecast. Madison?
Thanks, guys. Well, if you have been outside today or last night, you definitely felt that cold front blow through Texas Tech. Even if you didn't feel that drop in temperatures, I'm sure that everyone felt those gusty winds that came through overnight. I know I saw it. I saw trash bags flying. I saw my trash can flying. It was a bit of a disaster, and it was very, very gusty outside. But looking outside at our MCTV tower cam, we can see that most of the cloud cover that came through due to that cold front has dissipated out of the area, leaving some nice, pretty high altitude clouds out there for us. And for today, the temperature got really nice outside. Today, our high temperature climbed up to 67 degrees, mostly sunny and mild conditions with a wind coming from the north at 15 to 25 miles per hour, but higher wind gusts have been reported around 30 miles per hour or 35 miles per hour, so it still is a little bit gusty out there. For tonight, we're going to be seeing another drop in temperatures as it goes back down to 41 degrees, clear and cold conditions, and a north by northwesterly wind coming at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now, looking at the South Plains as a whole for the night, we can see that we are going to experience a lot of cooler temperatures out there west of us. Muleshire and Morton are going to be experiencing temperatures all the way down into the 30s. It's going to be very chilly, but sadly those chilly temperatures are not going to last, as by tomorrow for the South Plains, temperatures will have warmed back up again into the upper 70s and lower 80s for most of the South Plains. But can we expect another cold front going into tomorrow night? Sadly, no. The low temperature is only going to drop back down into the upper 40s and lower 50s, which is very par for the course for what we've been experiencing the last couple weeks. So sadly, these cool temperatures are not to last for us. Looking back into Lubbock locally, we can see that for Tuesday, our highs are going to be back in the 80s with a high of 81 degrees, a low of 50, and a west by northwesterly wind coming at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For Wednesday, temperatures return to the 90s with a high of 91 degrees, low of 53, and a west by southwesterly wind coming at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then for Thursday, pretty par for the course for what we've been experiencing lately, with a high of 84, a low of 50, and an east by northeasterly wind coming at 10 to 20 miles per hour. We could see some potential for other cold fronts coming through maybe this weekend or early next week, but for the foreseeable future in the next couple of days, we are not going to be seeing any more fall temperatures. I'm Madison Hartin for MCTV Weather. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Madison. As we mentioned earlier in the show, the Texas Tech football team returned to the Jones as they kicked off a Big 12 play over the weekend. But the Red Raiders weren't the only team to see conference action last week. Two other teams took to the court and the field in a series of matchups, making for a busy schedule for Tech athletics. MCTV's Austin Seat joins again with a look at scores and highlights from all the games and more in sports. Austin?
Thanks, Avery. This week was, in fact, a good week for Texas Tech athletics, as many teams got to play for Red Raider Nation for the first time in months. The first event of the week was a two-game conference competition between the Red Raider volleyball squad and the West Virginia Mountaineers. Game 1 kicked off last Thursday at the USA with the Red Raiders putting on a strong performance for Game 1. Caitlin Duggan led with 9 kills, while Brooke Canas had 8 kills and 4 blocks to help lead Texas Tech to a season-opening 25-17, 25-23, and 25-22 sweep over West Virginia on Thursday at the USA. Tech finished the match with 7 blocks and took advantage of 26 errors by the Mountaineers. Game 2, however, did not go the same way as the Mountaineers took the win in a 3-1 set. Allison Bloss led the Red Raiders with 12 kills and 6 blocks, while Alex Kirby had 48 assists and 11 kills in the match. Reagan Cooper added 10 kills, and Brooke Canas had 9 kills on a night where the Red Raiders had 8 players record a kill. On Friday, the Red Raiders will travel to Ames, Iowa to continue Big 12 play against the Cyclones. The first game is set for 6:30, and you can watch the match on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Moving over to the pitch, the Red Raiders soccer team faced off against the number 9 ranked Kansas Jayhawks in Lawrence this past weekend. After coming off a 0-0 tie with the Baylor Bears, the Red Raiders looked to get into the win column against a tough opponent on the road. The Red Raiders held their own, being down a goalkeeper and an All-American center back, keeping a possession-strong Kansas squad scoreless for 80 minutes. Hannah Anderson and Briley Weatherford were again impressive on the back line, combining with a midfield consisting of first-time starter Haley Smith and freshman Giselle Kozarski to feed the offensive effort. Margaret Benley saved a goal in the 66th minute, clearing her third from the goal line in 2 games. Unfortunately, Kansas' score came off the foot of Catherine Castro in the 80th minute, who beat Tech keeper Madison Hartin high in the corner. It was Martin's first goal allowed in 200 minutes in the net. After a tough loss to the Jayhawks, the Red Raiders are 0-1-1 for the 9-game season. Tech will travel to Norman, Oklahoma this Friday. The match is set to start at 7 p.m. and it will be aired on Fox Sports Oklahoma. This past Saturday, the Red Raider football team played their most hated rival in the Texas Longhorns. While many thought that it would be a blowout for Texas, the Red Raiders had other plans for the Vegas bookies. The game started off slow for the Red Raiders as the Longhorns got off to a 17-7 lead after the first quarter. Tech then continued to work from behind the Longhorns, bringing the score to 31-21 at halftime. However, Tech played great in the third quarter, outscoring the Longhorns 21-7 with the help of Sir Roderick Thompson, who had 16 attempts for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns, and TJ Vasher, who had 4 receptions for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, the Longhorns would not back down and came back to win the game in overtime after scoring 15 unanswered points with 3:15 left in the fourth. The comeback handed Tech a 63-56 loss at home. In the battle of the quarterbacks, both played extremely well, with Alan Bowman edging out Sam Ellinger, making 31 of 52 for 325 yards, 5 TDs, and 3 interceptions, compared to Sam Ellinger, who was 27 of 40 for 262 yards with 5 TDs and only 1 interception. With this close loss to Texas, the Red Raiders moved to 1-1 and 0-1 in conference play. They will take on the Kansas State Wildcats next Saturday in Manhattan, Kansas. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. and you can watch it on Fox Sports 1. In NBA news, the NBA Finals is set in the Orlando bubble playoffs. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat meet up this Wednesday in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Lakers are coming off a win against the Denver Nuggets to take they took their series 4-1, and the Miami Heat are coming off a Game 6 win against the Boston Celtics, winning their series 4-2. Game 1 begins at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, and you can catch all the action on ABC. Well, that's all for sports. Back to you, Krizia.
Thanks, Austin. So, Avery, did you happen to catch the Tech versus Texas game this weekend?
I did. It was so exciting and such a close one for us, but I really enjoyed it for a good Saturday.
I feel the same. Maybe next year would be better. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.